Welcome back to our channel History Coins HD. As you that old is gold, but these rare Lincoln penny coins that are most valuable than you think, don't spend one of them. You're lucky if you have one of these, so please watch complete video and find your treasure. Let's start this. Top 1, where small coins tell big stories, and today's story is nothing short of incredible. We're about to take a deep dive into one of America's most fascinating and valuable coins, the rare 1960 Lincoln penny. That's right, a humble 1-cent coin that could be worth a jaw-dropping amount if you've got the right one sitting in your collection. Now, don't be fooled by its simple appearance. This little copper coin is hiding secrets that have collectors racing to get their hands on it. So stay with us, because by the end of this video, you'll learn exactly what makes this penny so special and just how much it could be worth if you're lucky enough to own one. Let's start by going back in time. It's the year 1960. America was in the midst of the Cold War. John F. Kennedy was running for president, and the country was riding the wave of post-war growth. And during this eventful time, the U.S. Mint was busy producing millions of coins for daily use, including, of course, the Lincoln cent. The Lincoln penny has been a staple of American pockets since 1909, featuring the profile of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse. But something unusual happened in 1960. That year, the Mint produced two different versions of the penny, one with a small date and another with a large date. To the average person, the difference is barely noticeable. But to a trained eye or a lucky coin collector, that small difference can mean a huge jump in value. The small date variety, especially from the Philadelphia Mint with no mint mark, is far rarer than its large date counterpart. It was minted in lower numbers, and many people didn't even realize the variation existed until years later. That scarcity, combined with the condition of the coin, is where things get really exciting. Now let's talk about condition, because it's absolutely critical when it comes to coin collecting. A 1960 small date Lincoln penny that's been worn down from circulation? Sure, it might still get a collector's attention. But one that has been preserved in mint state, meaning it's nearly flawless, with its original shine and no signs of wear, can be worth a lot more. These coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, and the higher the grade, the higher the value. In the rarest cases, a penny from 1960 with a small date, full red luster, and near perfect condition can demand serious money from collectors who are eager to complete their sets. And here's where things get even more interesting. Some of these coins are even more valuable because of minting errors, double dies, off-center strikes, repunched mint marks, and more. These little quirks might have seemed like mistakes back then, but today they're golden opportunities for collectors. Think about it. A coin that was once passed over without a second glance could now be the key to a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. These coins might be sitting in an old jar, tucked in a forgotten drawer, or passed down through generations without anyone realizing what they're worth. So how do you know if you have a valuable 1960 Lincoln penny? Start by checking the date. Look closely. Is the number 1960 printed with thinner, more compact numerals? That's the small date variety. If you see that, congratulations, you've already got something special. Now check for a mint mark. If there's no letter under the date, that means it was struck in Philadelphia. Combine a small date with a Philadelphia mint in mint state condition, and you're really onto something. Coin shows, grading services, and numismatic forums can help you get an accurate evaluation. And trust us, it's worth checking, because now, here's the moment you've been waiting for. If you happen to have the right 1960 Lincoln penny, specifically a small date variety in brilliant uncirculated condition, it could be worth as much as $105,000. Yes, you heard that right. 1 cent turning into $105,000. A coin that could have easily been lost in the couch cushions or spent on a stick of gum is now worth more than a luxury car or a year's college tuition. This is why we love coin collecting, because it turns history, mystery, and a little bit of luck into real value. So take a moment. Check your coin jars. Dig through your family's old change collections. Who knows? The next great discovery could be hiding in plain sight. If you found this video exciting, hit that like button, subscribe for more coin stories and hidden treasures, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss out on our next rare find. Thanks for watching, and as always, happy hunting! Top 2, we're diving deep into the world of American coinage to uncover the hidden story of a coin that could be resting quietly in someone's pocket change, tucked inside an old drawer, or sitting unnoticed in a family coin jar. It's small, it's copper, and it's easy to overlook, but if you're lucky enough to find the right one, it could be worth a fortune. Yes, we're talking about the rare and mysterious 1961 D Lincoln penny. This is more than just a 1-cent coin. It's a time capsule from a turning point in American history. So grab your magnifying glass, settle in, and let's take a closer look at how a penny minted over 6 decades ago in Denver became one of the most talked about coins in modern numismatics. Let's rewind to 1961. The United States was in the midst of the Cold War. John F. Kennedy had just taken office, and America was preparing for a new era of progress and innovation. In the middle of all that change, the U.S. Mint was doing what it does best, producing currency to fuel the growing economy. That year, millions of Lincoln cents were struck at the Denver Mint, each bearing a tiny D just below the date on the obverse. To most people, this was just another penny. They jingled in pockets, paid for candy, and vanished into piggy banks. But within that vast sea of copper coins, a few exceptional examples were created, coins with details so sharp, luster so bright, or errors so rare, that they've become incredibly valuable to collectors today. At first glance, the 1961 D penny looks like any other coin from the era. It features the familiar profile of Abraham Lincoln on the front, a design introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of his birth. On the back, you'll see the classic image of the Lincoln Memorial, introduced just a couple of years earlier in 1959, replacing the previous wheat ears design. It's a coin most of us have seen countless times. But not all 1961 D pennies are created equal. Here's where things get exciting. Among the millions minted that year, a few extraordinary pieces stand out for their unique features and pristine condition. Some were struck using freshly polished dies, resulting in razor-sharp details and stunning visual clarity. Others display minting errors, off-center strikes, double dies, or repunched mint marks that turn a simple penny into a numismatic prize. Collectors go wild for these anomalies, not only because of their rarity but because of the story they tell. Every coin has a history, and every error has a reason. These aren't just mistakes, they're snapshots of the minting process that slipped through the cracks and became accidental masterpieces. Now, if you're thinking, well, I have some old pennies lying around, you're not alone. But the key here is condition. A circulated 1961 D penny with wear and tear is fairly common and might only fetch a few cents to a couple of dollars. But a penny from that year in brilliant uncirculated condition, especially one with a rare error, can command an entirely different level of interest from collectors. These high-grade coins, often found in original mint sets or coin rolls that were never opened, maintain their full red color and reflect light like a freshly minted coin. When graded by professional services and given a high mint state rating, their value jumps significantly. Add an error to the mix, like a double die obverse or a dramatic repunched mint mark, and you've got something incredibly special. There have been verified examples of these 1961 D Lincoln cents selling for eye-opening amounts at auctions and private sales. They're rare, they're beautiful, and they are in high demand by collectors looking to complete their perfect Lincoln cent collection. So, how can you tell if you have a valuable 1961 D penny? Start by examining the coin closely under a magnifying glass or microscope. Look at the date and the mint mark. Are the numbers sharp and crisp? Is the D clean, or does it appear to be repunched? Check the overall condition. Does the coin still shine with its original luster, or has it dulled over time from circulation? And finally, if you suspect you have something truly rare, it's worth getting it professionally graded. The investment could pay off in a big way, because here comes the moment you've been waiting for. There are rare 1961 D Lincoln pennies, especially those in flawless mint condition or containing rare errors, that have sold for as much as $100,000. That's right. 1 cent, transformed into $100,000. It's the kind of discovery that keeps collectors searching, keeps treasure hunters dreaming, and keeps the coin world buzzing with excitement. So, don't overlook those old pennies. What seems like pocket change could be a life-changing discovery. Make sure to go through your collections carefully, and who knows? You might be holding a six-figure fortune in the palm of your hand. Top 3. We're diving into the fascinating story of a small, copper-colored coin that may look ordinary at first glance, but trust me, there's nothing ordinary about this one. We're talking about the 1966 Lincoln 1-cent coin. Yes, a simple penny. But by the end of this video, you'll be checking every single one in your change jar. You see, some coins don't have to be made of gold or silver to be worth a fortune. Sometimes, it's about timing, history, condition, and a little bit of mystery. That's exactly what makes the 1966 Lincoln penny such a hidden gem in the world of coin collecting. Let's step back for a moment. The year is 1966. America is in the middle of the space age, rock and roll is changing culture, and the Vietnam War is on every headline. Amid all of this, the U.S. Mint was quietly producing billions of coins, pennies, nickels, dimes, most of which would go on to be spent, lost, or simply forgotten. But a few, just a few, managed to slip through history's cracks and become rare treasures. In 1966, the United States Mint was still under a coinage reform from the Coinage Act of 1965. This act led to a few unusual changes. One of the most important things to know is that, for several years, the Mint decided not to put any mint marks on coins at all. That means there are no little D or S letters below the date to tell you where a 1966 penny was minted. It was part of an effort to prevent collectors from hoarding coins and causing shortages. Now, most of the 1966 Lincoln pennies were made with the standard copper alloy and were used by millions of Americans in everyday life. They were tossed into pockets, used in gumball machines, and dropped into countless tip jars. But, among the billions that were struck, there are a few very special ones, coins that collectors would pay thousands, even tens of thousands of dollars for today. What makes these 1966 pennies so special? Let's talk about errors. Some 1966 pennies were struck with double dies, where the design was imprinted twice by mistake, causing the letters or numbers to appear doubled. Others may have been struck off-center, creating a weird, eye-catching look. Some were even made using leftover coin blanks from other years, resulting in transitional errors. These are the things that send coin collectors into a frenzy. Then there's the matter of condition. A penny that's been sitting in someone's pocket for decades, scratched and worn down, isn't going to break any auction records. But a penny that's been preserved perfectly, never used in circulation, with a rich luster and sharp detail? That's a whole different story. These mint state or uncirculated coins, especially those graded by top services like PCGS or NGC, are in extremely high demand. And now, here's the thing. You don't need a magnifying glass or a fancy tool to start looking. You just need your eyes, a bit of curiosity, and maybe a little patience. Grab a roll of old pennies, especially if you've inherited some from family or come across them at a flea market or garage sale. Look for the 1966 date. Check the lettering. Examine the edges. If it looks unusual, sharper than normal, or just feels different, you might be onto something. Some people have found rare coins worth thousands hiding in plain sight. In fact, one incredibly rare 1966 Lincoln penny, featuring a unique mint error and in pristine, uncirculated condition, was sold for a staggering total of $95,000. That's right. One small penny. Worth $95,000. It's the kind of story that makes you wonder what's hiding in your coin jar. So, don't let those pennies collect dust. Take a closer look. You never know what piece of history, or fortune, might be sitting right under your nose. Top 4. We're digging into a coin that many people have seen, but very few truly understand. It's small, it's copper, and it could be sitting unnoticed in your change jar right now. We're talking about the 1968 Lincoln penny, one of the most intriguing coins from the late 1960s, and one that just might be worth far more than 1 cent. Stick around, because if you've got the right version of this coin, it could bring you not only history, but an unexpected fortune. Let's rewind to 1968. The United States was going through one of its most turbulent years. The Vietnam War was at its height. Protests echoed through the streets. Martin Luther King Jr. and Robert F. Kennedy had both been tragically assassinated. It was a time of great uncertainty and change in the country. And in the middle of all that chaos, the U.S. Mint was still doing its job, producing coins that millions of Americans would use every day. Among those coins was the humble Lincoln penny, a familiar sight in every pocket and purse. First introduced in 1909 to celebrate Abraham Lincoln's 100th birthday, this cent piece carried with it the legacy of one of America's greatest presidents. And by 1968, the design featured the now familiar Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, introduced in 1959. But 1968 wasn't just any minting year. It marked the return of mint marks after a 3-year pause due to a coin shortage crisis in the mid-60s. Coins struck in 1968 would once again show where they were made, either Philadelphia, no mint mark, Denver, marked with a small d, or San Francisco, marked with an S. That alone makes 1968 a significant year for collectors. So, what makes the 1968 Lincoln penny stand out from the rest? To the untrained eye, maybe nothing. But here's where it gets exciting. Some of these pennies, specifically those with mint errors or in brilliant, uncirculated condition, have become some of the most sought-after coins in recent history. Let's talk about what you should be looking for. First, the condition. Coins that are crisp, clean, and retain their original copper red color are known as red mint state coins. If your 1968 penny has never been circulated and shows full detail in Lincoln's hair, cheek, and jawline, it might qualify as a mint state specimen. These coins are incredibly desirable, especially when professionally graded at the higher levels like MS65, MS66, or above. Then there are the error coins. This is where the true treasure hides. Some 1968 pennies, particularly those with the S Mint mark from San Francisco, have known doubled die varieties. That means the design was struck twice slightly out of alignment, creating a doubling effect in the lettering, date, or other details. A doubled die obverse, or DDO, is one of the most famous and valuable types of coin errors. If you happen to find one with clear doubling in the phrase "In God We Trust, Liberty," or the numbers in the date, don't spend it. That coin could be worth more than you ever imagined. Collectors around the world hunt for these errors and pay top dollar for coins that show rare anomalies. These aren't your average pennies, they're pieces of minting history that slipped through the cracks and became prized possessions in the numismatic world. And the best part? These coins might be sitting in old change jars, coin rolls from the bank, or even in your childhood coin collection. Most people pass right over them without a second glance. But with a little knowledge and a careful eye, you could spot one of these rare gems and turn a simple coin into a serious payday. So how can you tell if you have one of the valuable 1968 pennies? First, grab a magnifying glass and inspect the coin under good lighting. Look closely at the date and the words on the front of the coin. Is there any sign of doubling? Is the detail sharp and the color bright? Does the coin look untouched by time? If so, it may be worth sending it in to be graded professionally. That small investment could unlock a much bigger reward, because here's the moment you've been waiting for. Some of the rarest 1968 Lincoln pennies, with the right combination of mint condition and error variety, have sold for as much as $88,000. Yes, you heard that right. 1 cent, worth $88,000. A coin that could have easily been tossed in a vending machine, now valued higher than many luxury cars. That's the magic of coin collecting. A tiny piece of copper from the past holds a secret, and when that secret is discovered, it changes everything. That's why collectors keep searching, keep learning, and keep checking every penny that crosses their path. So don't overlook the small things. Sometimes, the smallest treasures are the ones that carry the greatest value. Top 5. We're zooming in on a small copper piece that most people wouldn't think twice about, a coin you've probably handled dozens of times without realizing what it could be worth. But some of these little pieces are far from ordinary. In fact, one special version of the 1972 D Lincoln penny might just be worth more than a new luxury car. Yes, you heard that right. This isn't just another old penny. If you've got the right one, you could be looking at a rare treasure hiding in plain sight. So grab your coin jars, because what you're about to learn might just make you a whole lot richer. Let's go back to the early 1970s. The United States was coming out of a turbulent decade and heading into a new era. Richard Nixon was president. The Vietnam War was winding down. Technology was growing. Culture was shifting. And in 1972, the Denver Mint was busy striking millions upon millions of Lincoln cents to keep the American economy moving. The 1972 D penny might seem like a common piece of pocket change, and truthfully, most of them are. With over 2.6 billion struck that year in Denver, they're not exactly hard to find. But here's the secret: out of all those billions of pennies, a few were different. A few were struck in ways that make them incredibly rare. And those are the ones collectors are hunting for. First, let's talk about what this coin looks like. On the front, you've got the classic profile of President Abraham Lincoln, facing right. Above him, the words, "In God We Trust." To the left, "Liberty." And on the right, the date, 1972, with the small but significant D Mint mark just below it. Flip it over and you'll see the Lincoln Memorial, majestic and powerful, with the words United States of America and E Pluribus Unum above, and 1 cent below. It's a design that defined US coinage for decades, but here's where things get interesting. Some of these pennies weren't struck quite right. Minting errors such as doubled dies, off-center strikes, die cracks, and repunched mint marks have created a handful of extremely valuable versions of this coin. One of the most well-known coin errors is the doubled die. In this case, the coin's design is struck twice with a slight shift, causing a noticeable doubling effect, especially in the lettering and numbers. While most famous on the 1972 Philadelphia penny, rare doubled die errors and other striking anomalies have also been found on Denver minted coins. Imagine spotting clear, bold doubling on the words Liberty or In God We Trust, or seeing a second impression of the D mint mark. These aren't printing defects, they're incredibly rare and desirable minting errors that can increase a coin's value dramatically even without a major error. A 1972 D penny that's in perfect condition, never circulated, shiny red in color, and graded as mint state by professionals, can bring serious attention in the coin collecting world. The higher the grade, the higher the value. Coins graded MS66, MS67, or higher are especially rare, and when combined with a known error, they become truly exceptional. And now, most people have a few old pennies lying around. Maybe they're sitting in a change jar, tucked in a drawer, or stashed in a forgotten coin collection passed down from a relative. It's time to take a second look, because this could be your chance to uncover a valuable piece of American history. So how can you tell if your 1972 D penny is worth anything? Start with the basics. Check the color. Is it bright red, like a new coin? That's a good sign. Next, look closely at the details. Are there any unusual markings, doubling of letters, or extra impressions around the date or mint mark? Use a magnifying glass or coin loop to be sure. If your coin seems promising, it's time to get it professionally graded. Certified grading services can confirm the coin's authenticity, quality, and any unique features. Once your coin has a grade and certification, its true value becomes clear, and in some cases, that value might be far beyond what you ever imagined, because now comes the part you've been waiting for. There are rare 1972 D Lincoln pennies, with the perfect combination of condition, rarity, and error, that have sold for as much as $80,000. That's right, $80,000 for a coin that originally cost just 1 cent. A coin that could be sitting in a forgotten roll or hiding in a dusty jar. This is what makes coin collecting so thrilling. You never know when the next incredible discovery will happen. So don't underestimate that old penny. Check your coins. Look for the signs. You might just be the next lucky collector who finds a hidden fortune in plain sight. If you enjoyed this video and want more fascinating stories about rare coins, valuable collectibles, and hidden treasures, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell. We've got plenty more exciting discoveries coming your way. Thanks for watching, and as always, happy hunting!